What is going on, guys? Fighting Game Selectors here. We are back again. We are going to talk about, and of course, Tekken 8. Eddie is here, and I gotta get the GOAT himself, UnRooolie, man. What's good, dog?
What's going on? What's going on? It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Eddie's in the mix, and all is good.
We all know that this patch is kind of crazy right now.
Yeah.
Not because of just the character, but just mainly because of like a lot of bugs. But
yeah. Like any character with a down throw is godlike right now.
I know, right? Isn't that funny?
Bro, you have a down throw, you're a god because supers won't matter to you.
Yeah, I think that's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and talk about Eddie's first thoughts, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wanted to ask you this. Like, how are you feeling about Eddie right now?
Yeah, man, it is 100% wild because he is a brand new character, right? To me, it almost should have been like, dude, this should have been like Eddie's son. You know, this should have been, like I said, like my stream, this should be Larry Gordo because he's completely different. And Tekken is it's wild because Tekken is such a legacy game that, I can pick Nina and I can do Tekken 3 combos. You know, I can do, Tekken 5 combos. Granted, those won't be the optimal, but like if you are good enough with your footsies and spacings, you could make things work with combos that were, 15 years old.
Right.
And, there's so much legacy. And Eddie took that legacy and pretty much said, nah, it's gone. Right. He will have some of his normals, but he's a completely new character. His routes for combos are brand new. Like moves are just kind of gone. I catch myself sometimes trying to do slippery kicks for some reason. And I'm like, even though that was a bad move. But yeah, it's like, he'll have some of his normals, but completely different. And I'll have to be honest, it's kind of fun. It's fun, like it's relearning him. So it's pretty wild. And like, because when I think, I'm like, man, if they put Eddie, they're gonna have to change him up because this is such an offensive Tekken right now, and Eddie was way more of a defensive, mobility based guy, and now he's completely changed.
Do you think this change overall gameplay wise has been really fun for you? Like, even though it's like different, like is it fresh? Does it feel good? Do you like some of the old things he had, or does a lot of the new stuff he gets now is more interesting? Like, let's talk about a little bit of like the gameplay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Definitely like 100%, like very interesting. Like the Majinga meter, right? I sometimes I see people go for it, but a lot of times you're just kind of like really just focusing on, getting the character, and if you get the Majinga, then it's good, right? Because sometimes you're just like, and I think Tekken goes by so fast, so by the time you get your second one, the character's almost already dead.
Yeah.
Like it's so tough. So you're like, oh, I just got my second one, and the character has 20%. So I guess I can use my new mix-up. So and it goes back, it goes away each round. Yeah. So from what I've seen, I watch a lot of pros. I've been watching a lot of pros play as well, and some of them aren't really going for it. If they can, they'll get it. But it's like, so that. I don't know if that's going to be adjusted in the future because, like I said, Tekken goes by so fast that Eddie doesn't really have time to power up and get two of them. Maybe I'd like to see something where he can like do something and hold it longer and then boom, boom, get like two immediately. But like it's day one, right? Right now we're almost in the honeymoon phase of everything, but it feels cool to play Eddie differently. That's what I can say, because like now, yeah, his game plan is completely almost changed.
Do you feel like they should have added more of like the defensive aspect in like Eddie, or do you feel like that style wouldn't have been so like strong in like this nature of like Tekken 8?
Yeah, like I think Tekken 7 Eddie probably wouldn't have fit, and I think maybe that's why we didn't get Lei Wulong too.
That's what I was thinking too.
Because like Lei didn't make the cut, and Lei's been his like, he's been like set to the DLC realm already like too many times in my opinion. But I think for Lei, they're gonna have to do the same thing with Lei because Lei is very defensive, very kind of mobility based, and like if they ever do Lei, he's gonna have to be kind of reworked because almost every character still works, but like I think these really mobility characters will have to kind of like will change up because it's so weird. He's more of a mix-up monster. He's always been, but like now it's like it's designed more, right? Because now his moves have completely changed. So he has a lot of options. I think, you know, I'm not a super pro, but like I think he's still going to be around the same as he was in 7, where there'll be a few pros that use him, but like I think he's not going. You know, this is early, right? I could say this, and then all of a sudden, Evo is Eddy, right?
I don't think we're gonna have a Leroy with Eddy.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's got. I think he's got good mix, and he's still got a lot of options. But I think maybe they're still a little slow.
They could have just made like a different character rather than bringing back Eddy. I mean, Eddy is such an iconic character, but like.
Yeah, like I said, it could almost have been his son, especially with the hair and stuff like that. You know,
that's right. Yeah.
It could have been like Eddie's son. Like I don't know with the timeline, but like I mean, I would have been kind of down if it was like his son, and you know he had like the Killmonger do, and he's younger or something like that. Because
that would have been safe.
I think so, because like the way he's been drastically changed. Like yeah, I think that could have. Worked as well, but like,
does he at least hit that itch that you felt when you played him original and like the other Tekkens? Now that he's completely different.
Oh yeah, 100%. He still hits it because you know when I'm watching the Tekken talks, you know like there's a capoeira master who helped design Eddy, and he was part of the process of making Eddy. So you know there's so much cool stuff. Like when he does the Majinga and boom, and he gets in, he's like. Boom, you know, he does the, you know, he points at himself. He's like, vamos la, you know, so he's a bit more explosive this time around. And it's just, it's so hype, man. Like when he gets each time he gets the Majinga, he's like, vamos la. And yeah, like his supers fire. It's neat. Like, I don't think they could do this with every character, because if they did this with every character, like the development time would have been crazy, right? Because most of the characters are like, oh yeah, here's all their sets from these old moves, and here's some new moves, and we'll adjust the way the old moves work and something like that, right? Like Eddie's like, oh yeah, no, these are completely, he's got these new moves, these moves are gone, and Lei Wulong will get the same kind of adjustment if he comes back. I'm pretty sure he's a staple. Like,
man, I hope he don't get the, like, they don't remove stance.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, because like Eddie's now, like he has 3 stances now. So, and you know, here's the thing, because they're like, oh yeah, Eddie's so easy to play because you hit 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm like, that's gonna, you know, kill everybody in green and yellow ranks, right? But like you get to, you know, red, purple, 3, 3, 3s is gonna get you destroyed, right? And Eddie's, you know, easy to pick up but difficult to master. He has 3 different stances. He's got relaxed, he's got handstand, and he's got normal. And in those, you have to know, your best moves for each one, right? So, of course, you can hit the buttons, but like Eddy, it was always since the beginning was, made people angry because they hit the kick buttons, and he was, beating people in the arcades and stuff like that. But like, to a pro, you hit those buttons, and it's like, oh, okay, here's the low parry, here's the right. So, but like.
Now I gotta watch this combo.
Yeah, like he's gonna be easy to pick up, but difficult to master. You're gonna have to really learn to do, those 3 stances he has. And I think Lei could still be a stance character. It's just gonna be things that are like get him in and out of stance faster, like Eddy. Because Azucena is a stance. So like I think that's why I also started picking up Eddy fast, because like Azucena's stances, right? So I have to get used to her. I have to go, oh, I do her 3 or 1-1, and that gets me into the stance. So now Eddy's 3-3, and I get into the stance. So
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's cool, man. Overall, like, so, what's your overall thoughts, man?
Overall thoughts, like they knocked it out of the park. Like it's like I said, I'm like a little sad that I don't have some legacy stuff. But
aren't we all sad?
Right?
I had to deal with it too. But I've learned to have fun.
Yes, exactly.
I think because I'm getting older, I'm like, I'm learning to have fun.
Yeah, right. And like for me, being older, like old dog, new tricks. But like I've been surprisingly pretty good, like with adapting. Every once in a while, I'll try to see myself do slippery kicks, which doesn't really come out anymore. That's like 3-4, and he does the the flare, and the flare is kind of now it comes out of the handstand. You just can't do the flare. Now the flare is red rank and below killer. People just get hit by that all the time. People like you get purple, they'll see you do the slippery kick, the flare, and they're just like, oh, that's a parry. why would you ever do that? I'll catch myself sometimes trying to do the launcher. His old launcher was down diagonal 3-4. Now it's just diagonal 3. But like other than that, it's cool. And I think the way he's designed now is meant for you to be like, hey, be careful. Like, I think, and I see other people, it's meant to like throw out like this string only if you mean it, right? Yeah, so it's kind of like, don't just throw stuff out, even though, like I said, in the lower ranks you can, but like once you get to the higher ranks, no. But so I like it that it's like making me play a little bit smarter now.
Just learning new moves and like new tricks.
Yeah.
It's not impossible for me to like learn the new stuff. It's just that now games have like I feel like they have like a one type of style that they want to just like promote so much that it's really hard to. It's not hard to learn, but it's hard to make decisions.
Yeah.
In the fighting games, and I think that only really affects the percentage of people who've been playing fighting games for quite some time. Because, most fighting games is like heavily on like who made the best decision, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now the decision is like, who pressed the button at the right time?
Yes. Yep.
And sometimes people don't have the fastest mash.
Oh yeah, because like in Guilty Gear, especially, right, with like Strive and Accent Core, right? They were like there were some big differences too that you had to like overcome, right? Yeah.
Free, even going playing like Plus R to Xrd.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't really like a big, like the biggest thing for me learning that was like the slowdown, like Roman cancel, or just like doing Roman cancel from like full screen and like slowing the game down. And like for me, I was like, okay, well, if somebody does like YRC like full screen, I like, okay, at least I'm just gonna block, right?
Yeah.
Like that's my mindset, right? But like now with Strive is like, it don't have like the RC from full screen, but now if you're like in the little bubble vicinity, you get like massively slowed down and potentially, you could get hit and get like a full blown combo off of that. And now it's more homogenized where like, everybody does like the same thing, which is, great for new players, but obviously the decision making, I would say fighting games feel like it goes to like simple to like complicated, then like simple to complex.
It's so weird because they with each new game they're like, well, how can we change it up, right? Like, because they sometimes they just want to change it up because like, oh, footsies is the big thing, so can we focus? It is kind of weird how they'll change it up, but now it seems to be more about offense and pressure, right? Street Fighter's like that now, Tekken is like that now, and a lot of people a lot of the previous generations don't like that, right? They're like, no, I want to be defense, and oh my god, like, because a lot of people early with Tekken 8 was they were like, dude, why is my backdash so bad? Right.
Like, why is me trying to fight for my life is so bad?
Yeah, right.
I think the wording that people are asking for is can make people say like, we don't want that. I think instead of like making the game more defensive, let's make fighting games let's make all play styles stronger again. Yeah. And I think that's okay because offense has always been like really good at fighting games. We could talk about CBS2, we could talk about MK. Even MK3, people were running up doing like these combos. Like everybody, Cabal was running MK9. Offense was always strong. Yeah. But I think now there was just like, well, we want it to be like so strong where we tone down everything else. And I think that's where it's the problem. It's like offense has been getting stronger. Yeah. Right, and nothing else has been getting better. Everything has been getting worse.
Here's the thing: like when it comes to like we're getting almost to the 2000s age, like the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 age, the Marvel like where offense was king, right? And a lot of games were like that. And it's here. I'll tell you one story before we head out. But we were at I was at Evo, and that's when MK11 or MK1 and Tekken 8 were showing. And I've been cool with Ed, and I've been talking with him. And I talked to Ed. He's like, "Oh man, there's Tekken 8's looking great, man. I wish I could play." And I'm like, "Hey, man, I know the people at Namco. I'll take you." And then I got to go take Ed to play Tekken 8. And it was cool. And we were just having a conversation and we were talking about it. And he's like, oh yeah, so tell me about 8. And I'm like, well, yeah, like 8, they're really going for offense, right? So they're kind of nerfing defense a little bit and they're really going in on offense. Like, oh wow. So he's like, so what do the player base think? What do the people think? And there's like, well, there's a lot of like OG players that are like kind of like upset at it. And there's some new people that kind of like it. But it was cool because he was, as a designer, a creator, he was kind of like, oh wow, you know, like, so yeah, what are people thinking about now, you know, right? Because that's what fighting games do a lot. They just like, hey, we're changing our game now and our game's going to be a little bit more focused on this.
Yeah, and like I feel like once the devs make that, it's so hard to adjust that.
Yeah,
it's like you have to just ride with it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure.
Yeah, just hearing that, man, just, you know, it's always interesting hearing like just different, like the direction of like what they always want, but it seems like all companies are all on the same page.
Yeah,
they
right.
all want aggression.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because, you know, and here's what I'll say, and here's my thoughts on it. It makes for a good spectator sport.
It does.
You know, like when there's aggression and people are getting opened up and there's these big combos and things are happening. Of course, defense is amazing and defense wins championships, but for a like, you know, like the best Super Bowls, the ones where it's like 3-3, you know, or like the final score is 3-7. Like, both they're the best defensive teams. Does that make for a great Super Bowl, or do you want to see a Super Bowl? It's like 36-21. Right. Of course,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but like defense is very. It's hype though too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, Evo Moment 37. You know, you see someone block a mix-up for like a minute in Dragon Ball. You're like, this guy is a god, right? Not only doing combos is a god, but you see someone block a Dragon Ball Fighters mix-up for like a minute. You're like, this guy is insane, right?
Bro, the point where like, if you watch the Goichi comeback, literally like he did a level 3, and all of a sudden you hear the Dragon Ball Super theme come on, bro. Like, you know, like he awoken, like, so. Moments, I think those moments are really hype too, you know?
Yeah, no, of course, defense is good, but I think from a spectator sport, and I think that's sometimes the high level professional players kind of forget that this is this is also now a sport, right? People love to see it. And if you're going in there and you're just seeing kind of guys that's back up, and, you know, and you get timeouts, it's not that exciting for a person kind of watching. But if you're going in and they're like, boom, boom, you know, like, and they're going back and forth and it's a scrap, right? People went to go see Mike Tyson fights because they went to go see someone get clobbered, right? So I think if fighting games are a bit more aggressive, it's going to put people like, yo, I gotta go see this tournament. This tournament, you know, people are gonna get opened up. People are gonna get bopped. There's not gonna be timeouts. There's not gonna be ties.
I agree with that. You think they should like have people talk trash?
Right? You know, we're getting to fighting games where they're almost like NFL Blitz. You know what I'm saying? You know, Blitz is right.
I had a great conversation about this, man.
Hey,
I feel like we could keep shooting the shit, but
100%.
I don't want people to think that we're haters.
Nah.
We love fighting games. I'm happy that new fighting game players are coming on board. Even despite the game is not being my play style, I still enjoy trying my absolute best to force my play style in a world that I don't exist. You know,
for sure.
It's a fun challenge. You know,
100%. But like, you know, that's the beautiful thing about fighting games. You know, as long as they give you creativity to really play the way you want to play, right? I know sometimes like Tekken has made defense a little bit, but like there's like, you know, there's a beauty in everything, right? There's a beauty in a guy who's the craziest turtle. Like back in the day, Dalsum wasn't that exciting, but like you see someone play Dalsum now and they're like this defensive god, and like you're like, damn, that's pretty impressive, right? So there's a beauty in almost all play styles. There's a beauty in a super rushdown heavy Akuma and a beauty in some defensive lord.
But yeah, man, like I said, bro, thank you so much for coming here.
For sure.
And like,
thank you.
Where can they find you, dude?
Again, that's UnRooolie, UnRooolie, and that's, you know, on the YouTube, that's on the Twitch, that's on the Twitter, you know, on Instagram, wherever you want to find me, UnRooolie. You can find me there, and I'll be playing a lot of fighting games, a lot of some shooting games too. I just like competitive games. Also,
I'm a super competitive player too.
yeah, you know, there's something about, you know, and that's the beauty of it, and that's why we love fighting games, man. It's a competition.
It just brings that specific thing out of you as a player. You know?
100%, 100%.
Well, thank you so much, man. And look, guys, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how you guys feel, man. Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.